Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Avenue A. I'm your host, Kelsey Bentz. For those of you who are new to the show, I created this platform to discuss acting, networking, and the industry, and to connect with my fellow artists in the industry, as well as create an accessible resource for other young artists who are pursuing acting and music and art of any kind. So thanks for tuning in and joining me tonight. This week we have another really special guest. I'm super excited to introduce her. Her name is Tami, and she's an international recording artist and musician. Oh, hi, Dana. Excited for the show? Me too. So this week we have Tami, and I'm really excited. We also have a little sneak peek clip at her music that I'm going to show in just a second. So a little bit about Tami. Tami is an international recording artist and musician, like I said. She grew up in a little northwestern town in Oklahoma, then moved to Nashville, and shortly after that, she seized an opportunity to move to Thailand. It was there that Tami became a headliner, singing torch songs at Oodie's Place, a renowned club in Bangkok. Oodie, considered Thailand's father of the blues, contributes to Tami's album Velvet and Steel on the bluesy Love's Been Rough on Me. Tami was invited to play the legendary music festival South by Southwest in 2020 before it was canceled due to the pandemic. The concert was to come on the heels of her sold-out New York City debut at the acclaimed Bowery Electric. Instead, Tami reached into her soul and made new music, releasing a 6-song EP entitled Together Apart during quarantine. Tami crosses all genres of music, and in the process, her songs provide a bridge to better days. She says, "I want to matter. I want to make my existence worthwhile. My goal is to create awareness on love, kindness, and human rights. Hopefully, I can use my voice to do that." So before I bring Tami on, I'm going to play a little clip of one of the songs on her recent EP that she released. The song is called If You Don't Know Me By Now. So enjoy.
If you don't know me by now, you'll never, never, never know me, boy. If you don't know me, oh, by now, you'll never, never know me. If you don't know me by now, you will never, never know me. If you don't, if you don't, if you don't know, you will never know me.
Ugh, beautiful. And without further ado, let's welcome Tami on the show. Hi, Tami.
Hello. Hi, Kelsey. Thank you for
Thanks
having
so much for
me.
joining me. Of
Yeah.
course.
Thank you for having me. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. It's Friday night, so this is sort of the last thing in my week, and it's always a wonderful way to end the work week.
Oh, fun. Well, I am definitely going to have to. I loved your intro. I watched your intro, and I'm going to have to check in to every Friday night and see what, 'cause this is interesting. What a beautiful setup you have.
Thank you so much. It's
It's
been
really
really
cool.
fun to develop this platform over the last few months, and I've just been doing it for fun and as a way to, connect with people. And I'm so honored to have you on the show tonight. Your song is beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much
your
for having
your
me. Yeah, what
voice.
fun. I really just enjoyed the whole uh, beginning of the show. I was like, oh, it's something I want to watch. So yeah, I will
Oh, I'm so
definitely
glad.
follow you.
Thank you. So, Tami, part of your bio at the end, what you said about how you want to create awareness on love and kindness and human rights, I think that's so beautiful. So, I'm wondering, how do you use your voice to pursue that goal in your music?
Well, I've always believed, and I do believe it with all my heart, that it's true that music is the universal language. And I've been able to experience that just through different travels in my life. We travel all over the world. We spend probably 5 to 6 months out of the year not home, not in the United States. So we're in
Mm,
many different countries. And to see people relating when they can't speak your language and you can't speak their language very well, and to see them relate to songs and them even request songs that are songs that they know of, but they can't speak the language, the native language that the song is in. To me, that just tells you that music goes far more than sometimes words do.
mm,
And I've just been so blessed to be able to really perform for people that all over the world, in China and Thailand and Europe and um, everywhere, Japan, Singapore, everywhere where they can't really speak to me very much, or I can't speak to them even um, very much, but they love the songs, they know the songs, and it's something that they've grown up with. So that aspect, that music is a universal language, is absolutely the truth in my heart. Um, Also, while you're singing these songs, to have important subject matter to sing about, I think, that really it gets straight to the heart. Um, my, people before me have mastered this art as well. I mean, Sam Cooke, when he sings "A Change Is Gonna Come,"
mm.
my goodness, those things transcend time, and that's the kind of music I like to sing. Songs that kind of have a message and really make you think and go away and say, "Wow, that was something." So I've been singing since I was 4 years old, and I've been listening to jazz artists and blues artists all of my life. So they've always made a great impact to me about the message of the song.
Mm. And your soul really comes through in your music. It's very evident. Um,
Thank you.
so that's yeah, it's beautiful. I'm wondering, you recently released your 6-song EP during quarantine. Can you talk a little bit about the recording process and how you did that, during this crazy time?
Yeah. Well, it was unexpected. We did not expect to come out with an EP this year, just simply because my debut album, Velvet and Steel, which it's a nod to all of the different kinds of blues genres. That's, we were just on the cuff of that, and we were singing songs from from my album around the world, and we were going to come home. We were going to do South by Southwest. We were going to do a 3-month stint in London, and so the EP was definitely not expected, but we came home. We were trying to maneuver our way through Asia, trying to get home because we knew this virus was actually going to hit the United States. I think we talked about that earlier. We were every morning
Right.
we would watch the John Hopkins charts to see, the area should get bigger and bigger, and so there was a worry. We were worried about people's safety and health, and so we were just trying to make it home. We didn't know about if South by Southwest, the big music festival, was going to continue, so we knew that we had that date coming up. So my husband and I, we just decided, well, we're going to go through Singapore and we're going to try to get home. We had to go through 5 checkpoints, and eventually we made it home. The world was just kind of starting to panic at that point. And
Right.
we made it home, and we were watching the news just all of the time, listening to everything that we could to try to figure out, what's going to happen and what the best scenario is going to be for everybody. South by Southwest was canceled. We came home February 27th. South by Southwest was canceled on March 6th.
Mm.
And, here I am talking to my band the whole time, saying, because they were coming down to Austin with me and we were going to perform songs off of my album. And so
Yeah.
we were like, well, we don't know. But March 6th came, South by Southwest was canceled. And, when things happen that are traumatic, I think you don't really plan on what you're going to do. Things just kind of come. And I was talking to my band members and I was saying, well, you know, gosh, this is terrible. We had all these things planned, um, and we don't even know how everybody's going to fare from this. So we said, let's go into the studio and just rehearse what we were going to do. Maybe we'll just record it or put it on like a video or something. And so it came to be that we got into the studio here in Nashville. Probably just we're going to do maybe 3 or 4 songs, and an EP came out of that. And we had to be very careful with the way we did it because, everybody was home locked down with their family and they were not
Right.
wanting to be around other people. So we kind of went in one by one, made this plan to go in and do songs that were off of my debut album. And also, the other songs just kind of came up. We were like, well, let's do these songs. These are questions about what's going on. And also, how long is this going to be going on? Paul Carrick was in a band called Ace, and he wrote the song How Long back in 1975. And we were like, do you remember that song? They're like, yeah, that's a cool song. So we thought that was pertinent to the time. And so
Yeah.
we just started working up these songs. And at the end of it, also my publicist was in on it too. He was like, this is a great idea. Let's do this. Let's do this. I mean, we were just kind of thinking of things that what people were going through during the pandemic. If you don't know me by now, we were reading articles that people were like the first time in their relationship with their partner that they're having to spend time together.
Right. I
And if
know. Yeah.
it's like, if you don't know me by now, this, you better know me because we're in this together. And um, just something came out of it. And we're really blessed that it all came together.
Wow. I think that art is one of the only ways right now that it's possible to stay connected. Like I'm finding that too as an artist. I'm like, the only way that I feel like I can stay connected with my people is to make art and like try and do, distanced art and things like this
Mm.
show and stuff like that. And your EP is exactly the same. And that's so wonderful that that
Well,
inspiration came out of this time.
I mean, I think artists, there's a saying in the business, writers write and artists are artists and singers sing. And so
Yeah.
when you have the sudden information that you can't do those things, you suddenly you have this. I felt heavy with emotion, like I wanted, you need to emote. And
Yeah.
that's what we did. We went in and we were just thinking, and most, like 3 or 4 of these songs are cover songs. So these are songs that we were thinking about titles that would somehow or another relate to the day.
Yeah. Wow. And I
So,
think that makes the release is so impactful then, because it's not just music, but it's meaningful music.
well, it came to that. At first, that was not
Yeah.
the intent. At first, we were going to go in and we were going to just, rehearse and see if we could just maybe make a video of the songs that we were going to do for South by Southwest. In fact, they had said, send in your video of your performance. South by Southwest is canceled, so send in your video
Okay.
of
Yeah.
your live performance. And we started with that notion, and then after that, we were like, you know what? Let's these are questions that people are asking, and these are questions that we have that we don't even know how this is going to turn out.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned a little bit that you've done all this traveling and you've gone all around the world, and I think that's so exciting and fun, and it must be really enriching. And so I'm wondering, what is something, maybe one or two things that you've learned from your experience in your music career that you wish your younger self had known?
Oh boy. I read these things in magazines sometimes, and these quotes from people like, "What would you tell your younger self?" And um, that's such a good question. It's such a good question. What I would tell my younger self is, I experienced every gamut of everything because I had a deal with Sony here in Nashville, a country deal back early 1997. And we went through the whole album process with that on the record label. And just, moving to a city and trying to make it in an entertainment business and things, you learn so much. I mean, you become so street smart. So, what I
Oh
would
yeah.
tell my younger self is, don't question yourself. Don't, these gut instincts that we have are there for a reason. And there were so many times where I would not speak what I really wanted to say, just simply because I was with an executive, a record executive, and I trusted that they knew better than what and they may have at that one particular moment, but I always, if I didn't say what I wanted to say, I would always regret it. And I think it's important, if you have those gut instincts, say it, because most of the time it will not steer you wrong. Most of the time, those are the things that need to be said at the moment. Um, Always think about what needs to be said and what needs to be done, and not so much look out for yourself first. I'm not saying that, but I think a lot of times in life where we don't communicate because we're trying to not mess up this, or we don't want to cause a problem, or it's
Right.
not the right time, or we feel like it's not the right time. I've always, as I've gotten older, I've found out that when I do speak and I do interject of what I want to say, it always seems to turn out for a little better, because then you've given the other person a perspective that they may or may not have. So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great advice. Was there like a specific turning point for you where you sort of like consciously realized like, okay, I have to stop like deferring to other people, or was it kind of gradual?
Well, I, you know, I've had such a journey. I've had such a journey, and not every, you get people to ask advice all of the time. They'll say, "How did you do it?" I want to write down everything. How did you do all these things? And one of the things is that not everybody's journey into their art, is not the same. Everybody's journey is just a little bit different. So you can't take that's why there's no book about how to make it in the music business, really. You can't pinpoint it. You can't say
Right.
A, B, C. You could do important things, and these, people have good, solid advice, but you cannot like go A, B, C, D. This is how it's going to happen. Will not happen for you. So you have to, you have to use common sense. You have to speak with your heart. You have to understand what's going on, and be able to communicate what you feel about it. And the pivotal turning point for me, I've had several of those, but I started out as a country music singer, and I was here in Nashville, and I was learning every country song I could sing. I was singing every country song I could sing. I was singing demos from country, songwriters, and singing it in the country twang, which I love to sing country, but there was always something inside of me that said, not it's not everything. And I even had record producers say, well, we really want you to sound like this artist, and we really want you to kind of be this, just like this country artist that's big right now. And I always felt like, I can't, I need to be myself. I need to be what's true to me. And I'm glad that I stayed that way. The pivotal moment for me was, I had the deal on Sony, and the record deal eventually fell through, even though we had like 8 songs off of an album. We had been working on this for like maybe 13 months or something. So
Wow.
it's quite a process, and it's good, very country. Um, but in hindsight, had I not had that moment of it not coming through, because new executives came in and they took over, the label at that point, and there was a lot of things going on, shuffling, they call it. Had I not had that thing that, well, okay, so the album isn't going to be released. We've done all this work. Had I not had that happen to me, I don't think I would have pivoted in the way that I did and went to China and started singing jazz in these jazz clubs. There was a point in my life, I remember walking to the mailbox and saying, I'm going to change my genre. I'm actually going to sing jazz and blues and soul, all of the things that I've listened to as a child, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to look back. I'm just going to do it. And when I made that decision, we moved to China maybe 2 months later, and moving over into a different, physically moved. I didn't visit. I wasn't traveling back and forth. We were physically over there, and I was singing in these 5-star jazz rooms that are just extraordinary. And that experience alone changed my life. It changed my life So, just sometimes you have to ride it out and see where life's going to take you, and never second guess. Don't
Yeah.
second guess, and just kind of go forward and trust the process.
Yeah, absolutely. It sounds like, that pivotal move to China would not have happened had the record deal not fell through.
Nope, it wouldn't. And
Wow.
there were people that were on the label that also had their albums shelved at the same time, and there were artists that were, we were all, I guess, in the same class, and you know, it. I never would have tried that had this had not happened, and I'm so happy that I did because. Um, I have just experienced so many things just traveling around the world, meeting people of different cultures, being around different, musical genres and being able to play with musicians around the world. I mean, that's something that is so unbelievable that I never would have thought would have happened, but it just kind of happened in my life. So, you know, things happen.
And so I'm wondering, I'm so fascinated by your international career and all the traveling you've done.
Me
Um,
too, because this was
yeah,
not planned. It just kind of happened. But
yeah.
I have to say that. I mean, we've worked very, very hard, but things have just opened up. And if you would have asked me 20 years ago what I would have envisioned for my future, where I would be, I would not have been able to say, this is what I envision. I wouldn't envision that I've made a jazz record and a blues record and I travel around, the world, and that I can speak languages that I never thought I could speak. No, I never had envisioned that for myself. So, blessings come and you just, strap on and go. And that's what I've done.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm wondering, you talk about expanding your genres. Like at first you were just very country, and that's, the execs wanted you to fit into this mold, but then you stayed more true to yourself and expanded into the blues and jazz. What has your experience been like in terms of being such a like multi-genre artist? Because I think about this concept a lot where sometimes people say, if you don't fit into one category, then people don't know where to place you as an artist, or that concept. Sometimes that people give that criticism. I think.
Yeah.
What's your take on that, or have you received that?
Oh, yes. Yes. In fact, this album, the first album that I have, the debut album, Velvet and Steel, which it's been a remarkable ride. It's still a remarkable ride. We had people listen to it and were like, wow, we just don't know really what genre this is going to be, or we can't understand what genre. Well, it, it was intended. It was intended to be multi-genre and broad spectrum. That was the whole intent. And when people listen to it, and my producer was saying, I want to create this album where you listen to it from the first song to the last song, and it takes a journey of the different blues, and soul songs of the time. And I think we did that. I think we accomplished it. It was quite a process. I feel that it's for me, for my audience, and some people are perfectly formatted in their genre. If somebody can be a pop artist and that's all they do is pop, and that's wonderful, and they still come up with these amazing things, and that's great.
Yeah.
But for me, I had such a varied beginning. I was listening to Sarah Vaughan and the Ink Spots and all these as a child, and then I went on to listen to rock and roll, and then I went on to listen, then I came to Nashville, and now I'm singing blues and jazz. It's what I'm supposed to be doing. And I one of my most favorite conversations is when somebody says, you know what, I wish I could hear you sing this Dusty Springfield song, or can you sing the Sammy Smith song, or I would love to hear you do this Adele song, or do you know Bob Dylan? He do you sing any Bob Dylan songs? To me, that's the most exciting time of my career, when people make requests and they want to hear me sing a version of a song. Um, I love that. That's really probably more important to me than other things, because and then I get to experiment with what everybody else has done. I get to experiment and put my own spin on it. So it's creative for me. I get joy.
Absolutely. And I think different genres hold different types of emotion. And so being
Yeah.
able to do all kinds of different genres, you don't limit yourself to your expression. And I think that that's so fantastic. So I get really excited hearing you talk about that because as an artist myself and a singer, I've always been drawn to a bunch of different genres. And I like to one day sing rock and roll or punk, and then one day sing country, and one day sing
Cool.
musical theater, and, all these different things. And I've struggled with that sense of, well, maybe I should, commit to one, or maybe I should like really pursue one thing. But it's never felt right to do that. So it's nice to talk to you because, that
Well,
hasn't limited you.
no, in fact, I love stretching myself. I love to say, oh, well, let's go from a Paul Rogers song, Bad Company song, into an Ella Fitzgerald song, seamlessly.
Yeah.
And to me, it's you're thinking creatively with your band, and you're doing all of this wonderful things, and it's like, wow, it's a lot of fun to do that. And my advice to you is, if you want to sing all these different genres, I definitely would. Somebody told me recently that was like, today people just download songs that they like. They will make a playlist of all the things that they like. So it doesn't necessarily have to be genre specific. And
That's true.
and if that's in your heart and your soul, if you want to go from punk to musical theater, I think you should.
I agree. Thank you.
I think that's cool.
Yeah, thanks. Um, so this is my very favorite question that I ask all my
Okay.
guests. Who is someone that is not in your network now that you wish was, and how would you go about getting them into your network?
Wow. Wow, that's deep. Yeah, I mean, gosh, who wouldn't want Clive Davis or Quincy Jones or Yo-Yo Ma, or,
Oh my gosh,
I
yeah.
mean, my dream would have been to have met Ella Fitzgerald, in person. But I think what I love more than anything, and I think we had just touched on that, what I love more than anything, dream scenarios, is when people talk about music, and when they talk about different genres and spans of music. On my EP, Together Apart, we open up with a Paul Carrack song from Ace in 1975, How Long? And I've had so much response from that, from people to say, I just wore that record out. I loved that song so much, and I'm so glad to hear it again. And to me, that's what thrills me, is when people start having the conversation about music and things that they grew up with, and things that were important experiences to them, or they want to hear me do a particular type song. So, um, and I love shows, and when people are performing and when they do just the gamut, when they're just playing all these different songs from different eras and different styles. That's really what I like.
Oh,
Hi, Owen.
Owen
I see
says,
you.
I'd love to hear about your writing process.
Hi. Thank you. Well, for me, I have to start off with a melody. I just recently did some songs for a children's book, and basically he gave me like some poems that he had done for this children's book, and he's a really great children's book author. Um, and this is just a recent experience. And so I was looking at the words, and I had to start off with it for me. And everybody's writing process is different. Some people are lyricists, some people are composers, some people are both. Some people just strum on a guitar and they find something that they want, and then they start, putting words to it. I think you have to kind of look within yourself to see how you write. When you're making up songs in your head, I mean, do they just come, out of the air, or words come first? Sometimes people's, words come first. I think Taylor Swift, she writes things down in a book, and then later she puts music to it. For me, it's music first. I'll come up with a melody, and then the words, we try to fit in the words that way. So, but every writing process is different. You just have to find something that works for you.
So you kind of get the feeling of what the song is going to be from the melody, and then from there the words sort of come after.
Exactly. Yeah.
Got it.
For
Cool.
me, music is always in my brain. I mean, there's music in my brain 24/7. I'm sure it is even when I sleep.
Yeah.
Um, and my mom said that I was singing before I was talking. So, I just have like this musical thing in my brain. And, um, but you just have to kind of look at yourself and see, if people that are writing, how they write. Sometimes people will write these beautiful things down, and then later on, the music will fit, and
Mm.
it'll say, "Oh, that melody will work perfect with that line." Um, so that's kind of how I do it. But everybody's different, and yeah, it's worth exploring.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Well, Tammy, we're just about out of time, but I'm so thankful that you would take the time to join me on Avenue A tonight, and thank you for your sharing parts of yourself and your career and the advice that you gave. It's really meaningful.
Of course, and I'm going to tune in because this is fun. I really love a format where in a forum where people can talk about music. I mean, to me, like I said, that's exciting when people can talk about their passions and have a place to go.
Yeah,
And during this time, we have learned that we can do amazing things from our home, and that we can have communication from our home.
yeah,
And this is just a way to expand upon that. So thank you for
absolutely.
having me, Kelsey. This has been great. And thanks, everybody.
For anyone watching, if you want to find more of Tammy's music, you can find her website, www.tammymusic.com, or her social media handles. Follow her because she's fantastic. So thanks again, Tammy, and have a fantastic evening.
Thank you. You too. Take care.
Thanks. All right, y'all, that's another episode down. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I hope that you took away some of those truth bombs that Tammy dropped, because I know I sure did. So we will see y'all next week. Take care.